Tom, I appreciate you joining me here in this romantic setting. This is how I feel like we best communicate when it's quiet and the birds are, leaving us to our dialogue. But the real news is it's finally happening. It's you and Spivak. It's finally, after all this time, all the build-up. How are you feeling?
The anticipation has been unbearable for the least exciting. Me fighting the least exciting man in heavyweight division. No, it's good. Like, it's a fight that I wanted. It's supposed to happen twice before, and obviously it's not. So, to be honest, I didn't really think about it since. I just thought it was never really going to happen. So, he's on a win streak, isn't he? He's a young, hungry guy like me. So, yeah.
I think it just used to kind of not make me laugh, but you'd always say his name, and it's all I remember is his fight with Tai Tuivasa, and it's real grinding style, and it's just it's not one I would imagine you'd be like, I want to fight that guy. So it's a good call out. It proves your skills against someone who's very worthy. But I'm just always curious, why was it him? Just because it was meant to happen, didn't, or what? Why him?
Originally, when I made my debut in Abu Dhabi, I think he fought the week before. So I was watching his fight, and then I thought it just makes sense, two young up and comers fighting one another. So I called him out then, and then it didn't happen, and then I called him out again, and it didn't happen. So I just kind of left it at that. I just thought that was going to be.
I like this idea of him sitting at home what's he got against me?
I don't have anything against him. It just kind of made sense to me at the time, because I was aware that the UFC kind of push you to call someone out. So I just thought, we fought around the same time with the same weight obviously and stuff. So I just thought, yeah, it made sense to me at the time. Now I'm not really too bothered about it, but here we go.
Your co-main event, right?
As far as I know, but they said that last time when I fought Oscar, and then they moved it, so I'm not bothered about being co-main event. It'd get me first fight in the prelims, I'm not bothered.
Is it a bit different because you guys will be fighting around lunchtime? Does that make any difference to you at all, especially with the jet lag and stuff like that? Or is it just you get in the cage, the adrenaline does the rest?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, does it? I'm not really bothered about what time it is.
You strike me as the sort of man who's not bothered by a lot of things, Tom.
I'm actually bothered by a lot of things, Really? Yeah.
So give us the top 5.
Traffic. That pisses me off.
I don't know why he's being cheeky. Why is he being cheeky? I see him, I shake his hand.
Thanks, Darren.
I knew that was going to happen. Something was bound to happen at some point.
At least he had the trousers on.
I remember one time when Grundy was supposed to fight Nick Lentz, and he was doing an interview in the gym. And it was I think he was sat up against the cage, and around the back of the cage it's all matted area. And Till just ran behind naked and started going, "Nick Lentz is a bum!" So yeah, at least he didn't do any of that.
I mean, I'm sort of anticipating at this point.
I knew something was going to go down, I knew that, so.
But yeah, anyway, fighting in the daytime you don't mind, but you are bothered by traffic. Continue.
Yeah, traffic, rude people, when there's no need to be rude, you know what I mean? I don't
sort of to waiters and stuff.
Yeah, I don't like people who look down on other people for no reason. I look down on you, but
physically and also figuratively.
That's justified. But yeah, that's just 2 off the top of my head. What else?
My dad's going to watch this and be like, "What's his problem with you? Why? Why would he say such a thing?"
It's just a joke. It's just a joke, Dad. Don't
worry, Nigel.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Nigel. What else? I can't think really off the top of my head, but when this interview's finished, I'll think about it properly, and I'll think, yeah, that does bother me. Crying kids, that bothers me. You know what actually bothers me? I can't say it pisses me off, but it does bother me. When people are upset. I don't like seeing people upset.
It's funny you say that. So I was in Cleveland for this Woodley Jake Paul thing, and there was a girl outside the arena before the whole thing, and she was crying, and I was like, "Is everything okay?" and stuff like that, and she was like, "Oh, just leave me alone." I felt really bad.
Yeah, I don't like to see people upset. Yeah, I don't really like that. Yeah, that does bother me.
This interview took a bit of a turn, but I appreciate the journey.
Getting a bit deep, so let's move on to something more fun.
Do you feel any sort of difference at all fighting a younger guy like Spivak versus a legend like Arlovski?
It's a guy across the cage trying to take my head off. Doesn't matter how old he is.
But even the resume of Arlovski, that doesn't get you. Don't think wow, I'll get to have this legend's name on my resume when it's all said and done, or does that stuff not really play into your mind?
I thought about it afterwards. It wasn't really that. That is cool, but what I was thinking about was Arlovsky was beating a lot of up-and-comers at the time, and he has beat Chase Sherman since, and I think he's going to win his next fight as well. That's just something else, but I was more concerned, like, shit, I don't want to be one of them guys who gets beat off Arlovsky. So that was more what I was thinking. But then, yeah, when I beat him and look back and stuff, yeah, it is kind of cool to beat Arlovsky.
I think you're kind of a rarity in this sport where you're an up-and-comer, but you've made no secret about the fact, like, I'm going to take my time, I'm going to get really good at this, and that, you know, I'm just going to work to the natural level of my ability as I go up the rankings. I don't even know if you've thought about it at all, but why would you take that approach over some of these other young guys who want to call out big names and just try and be the big deal right away?
Because I want to fight for about 57 years. No, for real.
Now you do sound like John Fury.
I'm trying to feel like John Fury. But for real, I just didn't... I want to make sure that when I get up on there, up there, that I'm ready for it. Because I see a lot of these guys and they're just like a flash in the pan. Do you know what I mean? They just go in, like you say, they win a couple and they think, shit, I'm ready to take on the world. And then they're not. And I want to make sure that when I get up there, I can stay there, I can get a decent legacy going, can have my title run, I can keep the title for a little bit, and then I can retire happily and do some other stuff with my life. And I don't want to like be up and... Obviously, MMA is very up and down anyway, so, you know, no doubt I'm going to take losses along the way. I've already took a couple of losses, but one loss, actually. But it says 2 losses on the record. But we won't go into that. There's just one loss.
Another thing that annoys you?
No, it doesn't really annoy me. I know where I stand with that one. And I don't want to shed light on people who don't deserve it. So we'll not talk about that.
It's funny though, because I've always kind of got this thing from you where you're taking it slow, you're taking it steady. It's almost like I never get the sense that you look at these bigger names like Stipe or Francis and think like, oh fuck, I'd love to test myself against them. But do you, when you're on your own, think about those names and think like, oh man, I wonder how good he is in there, or I wonder how I'll do against those guys? Do you think about that stuff?
Yeah, of course I do. But I also think I want to beat them guys. I don't just want to test myself against them. You know, I want to go in there and beat them. And to do that, I need more experience, which I've not got at the moment, which I'm going to get over the next couple of years. So I just don't see what the rush is, man. I just don't see what the rush is. Everyone's like... Oh, yeah, and people always think, oh, he's just not got enough confidence, he doesn't think I can beat the guys. Of course I think I can beat the guys, but there's a time for it. And
do you think it's different because, like, say, in boxing, you have loads of amateur fights and then you get into the professional ranks, whereas in MMA it's like deep end right away, especially for heavyweights? I feel like you guys get like big fights from 5-0 records and stuff. Is that part of the thinking? Like, just you want to get the minutes in there and you don't usually get those in MMA?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you look at Cyril Gane, for example, he doesn't have that many fights. He's just someone who came to the top of my head. He doesn't have that many fights, but like his last fight was against Derek Lewis. That was a 3rd round finish, and then he fought Volkov before that, which was 25, and then he fought Rosenstruck or whatever his name is before that. That was 25 minutes. So that's like, how many minutes is that?
He fought Tanner Boser before that, and I got loads of shit from Tanner Boser because I forgot that he fought him. So I just wanted to say that on camera that I remembered this time.
Big shout out to Tanner Boser if you're listening. But yeah, so he went 15 minutes with Tanner Boser as well, didn't he? Did he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I thought so. So see, look at all them minutes added up. Look at all them minutes in comparison to what I've got. So I need more minutes.
How many minutes do you think you do on Saturday? That's a very good way of asking for a prediction.
I don't know. What do you think?
He seems like a hard guy to put away, to be honest.
He's tough, man. He's really tough.
And I could see. I'm not trying to shit. Like I could see there be like maybe a minute or two where he's got you, and it's like hard to get him off you because he can be like a blanket. Like maybe. But I mean, then you get off and then you do your work. But I can see like time, not necessarily like I can't see it being quick necessarily.
Yeah.
But
I'm not after a quick fight. I'm not after a long fight. I don't know what I'm after. I'm after a bonus. That's what I'm after. But not a fight of the night bonus. I want a knockout bonus, something like that. Something sweet. Something where you look and you think, that was pure skill. That was like, he was just so much better than him. That's what I want. I don't want just like a lucky punch or a fight where I took loads of punches or it's been back and forward. I want like a masterclass. That's what I'm after.
I Finally put this bitter rivalry with Spivak to rest.
Much anticipated.
King Kong, Godzilla, Aspinall, Spivak.
I think, yeah.
I'm the only person in the world who understands like this joke, that it's just been a long time coming, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against Spivak. I've actually met him and he seemed alright. But, yeah, I only called him out because it was like we both fought on the same show, and I knew that I watched the UFC a lot of the time. It's not so much anymore actually, but I know that they push for a call out a lot. So I thought he's just fought, I've just fought. Let's make it happen.
Do you have another one in mind on Saturday?
Of course I do. But I keep calling people out and they keep not giving me them. So I'm like, why'd you ask for a call out if you're not going to even entertain it? So yeah, I've got one in mind, but let's get past it. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, on that note, thanks, Darren. We'll call it a day.
We can't call it a day. That.
What? Of him shouting, "I love sucking dick"?
Oh, is that what he said? I don't know.
He said, "I love sucking dick."
Sometimes I just switch off to what he's saying.
Is the house been just manic? Is it like during the middle of the day just like screaming and shouting and?
It's not, yeah, pretty much. But that's normal. Do you know what I mean? We all have our moments where that's just what we like. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Darren Till's currently giving us the double bicep through the window for the viewers who can't see him. His tan is looking probably the best I've seen him tan-wise.
I think he was quite brown when he fought Woodley. I remember him being. He had the Beatles haircut though. I remember that.
Yeah, he's not going to be as brown as Woodley, but he might. He's not going to be as brown as Thingy either. What's his name? Derek Brunson. So, but people are talking about the skills and he looks sharp. That's the best tan I've seen. That's the best tanned Darren Till I've seen.
And that's a fact. We can take that to the bank. Best tan Darren Till.
Yeah, I think now that he's had the teeth, they're extremely white. That makes the tan look a bit darker. So yeah, he's looking good.
He was telling me that you guys have been just like mad competitive since you've been here. Like who can swim the most, who can sit in the ice bath the most, who has emerged victorious in this household.
At what? At what exactly?
Overall, who would you say is the current leader of the competitive board in here?
Probably Terry. You know, Terry's like extremely competitive. But today, he fucking set me up, Till, because I was in the ice thing at the PI. It's not even an ice bath. It's just like a really cold pool thing. It's like a plunge pool thing. And he was in the other room. And I just got out, and he seen me get out, and then he goes, "How long have you been in there for?" I said, 5 minutes exactly. He went, "All right." And then he went in for 5 minutes and 2 seconds, just because. But I had a lot more in the tank, but I wasn't competing at that. I didn't realise it was a competition at that time. If I realised it was a competition, I could have banged out at least a solid 7 minutes, solid, and I had a couple of minutes left in me. But I did not realise at the time that it was a competition. So when we go again, I'll be putting that to bed for sure.
How has it been training here since you guys have got here? I know the jet lag's always a bitch to like negotiate and stuff, but going to the PI all together, being a unit in a different country, how's it been?
Well, today was day one, so.
Great question, Oscar.
Yeah, you need to get some fucking better reporter in here, man. Get
I'm nominated for an award, mate.
Really, are you? What?
Best Journalist of the Year awards.
Do you feel like you get more publicity because you're English?
Yeah. Well, I think not necessarily more publicity, but I think people recognise my voice on the press conferences more. I like since the pandemic and stuff, when I've been going every week to fights, I've definitely like people will notice me more.
How do you feel like living in America as an expat?
I'd miss home, but whenever I go home, I'm reminded of the things that I don't like. Like, so for example, you go on a night out in England, and then there's 4 lads walking towards you on the night out. You're like, I wonder which one of these is going to call me a cunt, and then inevitably one of them does. This might just be a southern thing, but
it's definitely not a southern thing. Where are you actually from?
From Maidstone, just outside London, southeast.
No, it's that's happened on many of occasions for me. That doesn't happen in America though.
Well, I think over here there's the threat of like.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think there's a bit of that, and I think like over here they wouldn't drink as much as us as quickly as us. Yeah. So I think English people peak really, really early and then sort of crash. But in that peak is where you get most of the violence.
The other day when we first got here, we stopped at like a shop, supermarket, grocery store, as they're called. And there was this fella sat in the car outside. Had some chains on. Black gentleman. Not that matters. No, I'm just painting the picture, that's all. My race is irrelevant in this story. And so I just walked out, and he was just staring over. Just gave him the, thumbs up. And the guy would not take his eyes off me. And then I was like, oh shit. Why is he still looking at me? I was like, fucking hell, shall I go back in the shop? But it was all alright. Nothing happened. But then
I find they're more like, to be fair, the north of England's a bit more friendly, but I find they're much more friendly over here in bars. Like if you go to a bar and get talking to someone here, you can talk to them for hours, right? It's like if you go to, especially like London, if you go to a bar, they're just kind of like, why are you talking to me?
no, you need to come to where I'm from. You'll never escape, that's it. It's just like non-stop chats. And especially if you're drinking, it's wild, man. It's wild.
Is that part of the benefits of finishing the fights earlier on Saturday, is that you can begin drinking sooner?
We're actually here for an extra day as well. We only leave on... So last time, fought Orlovsky, left on the Saturday night, left on the Sunday morning. This time we're leaving on Monday morning. So we've got like a day and a half in Vegas, so it's going to be a good time, man.
Pool party?
I've never actually I've been to Vegas before when I fought last time, but we were stuck in the COVID bubble thing. And now we've got a little bit of time after, so I actually went to the Venetian yesterday. It was so cool, man. It was sick.
Man, the strip is a shit show, but it gets a bad rep, man. Like the buildings themselves are like pretty impressive. Like,
yeah, it was awesome. There was some I seen some like smackhead guy though, and he was laying on the floor. He had all flies around his head, and then he got up, started running around, and then he had a knife and started stabbing the wall.
okay.
So I was like, we'll just keep him like arm's length. But yeah, you see some sights out here though, but it's cool. It's cool. How long have we been here, Oscar?
I'd say we've been here about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. How long was his interview?
I think his was about 30.
So we got
I might have to cut some stuff.
31 minutes.
I might have to cut some of this out though, to be fair.
Why?
Not really, I was only joking.
There was no racism there. If that's what that's what you were getting at. I was merely pointing out he was a black fella. That's all.
Oh, is it the cards? You guys play poker?
No, they do. I've not actually played.
I'd never gamble.
Well, you know Terry, former UFC lightweight, is now a professional poker player. That's his full-time job. He does poker full-time.
You should fund the trip.
He's a rich man. He's a lot richer than me. So yeah, he should.
Well, I'm going to call it there because I need to go home and start editing this, and it's already like past midnight. No, it's not. I haven't wound my watch back since Cleveland. It's 3 hours ahead.
I think it's like 10 o'clock, isn't it? 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's probably about 11.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You're not going to get it online tonight, though, are you?
No, but I have to edit it and get it ready.
11:15.
Okay.
32 degrees, if anyone's wondering.
Not that humid though.
It's all right here, isn't it?
It's not. I much prefer the desert heat than the humidity.
Yeah, I mean, because I came in February, so it wasn't that hot. But when I went to Abu Dhabi in like this time, I couldn't stand it, man. Yeah. And here's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi was hard for me too. Yeah. All right, mate.